Okay, so I want to start out the new year. Happy New Year to everybody, by the way. I hope you had a great holiday season. Uh, Time to get back to work, I guess.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Yes, time to.
It's hard to do that, but hey, we have to do it anyhow. So I wanted to start out just giving some updates in terms of NAR and IAR and MIBOR, and also just show you some resources that are available to you if you haven't already noticed them. You probably recognize this email right here. This comes from MIBOR. I presume that you get this on a weekly basis like I do. This is full of good information. So I always scan through it and see what's going on at MIBOR. So one of the things that they have on here is that a new security system starting tomorrow to get into the MIBOR office. You're going to use the Master Lock Vault app in order to get into the office. Uh, so um, uh, if you don't have the app, or for non-member guests, you can be buzzed into the building by the front desk, but this allows you to open the door yourself and go on in. So if you have any visits to MIBOR planned, just realize that there's a different way to access MIBOR than there was in the past. Um, uh, Also, there's a live webinar coming up. It's free. It's 13 ways to use AI and chat GBT in real estate.
Mm.
I have registered for that. And I would suggest that you register as well. It's free. You can just register by clicking on the button, and it will register you for that event at MIBOR. Now, that event is a webinar, so you do that online. And so I would recommend that you spend some time learning about ChatGPT. Also, there was a case in here, timing of commission negotiations. The basic gist of this whole thing, if you didn't read about it, is that commissions can be negotiated literally anytime during the sales or closing process. So this talks about an agent that wanted to renegotiate the co-op commission with the buyer's agent in order for the seller to reduce the price on the home. That realtor filed a complaint that was an ethics violation. It was not. And so you can negotiate that commission anytime up to closing. So feel free to do that. That is not an ethics violation. They have a,
Excuse me.
yes.
So that means any of the side, if you don't like the 2.5, we can ask for the 3?
You cannot make it part of the purchase agreement unless you have a buyer agreement, exclusive buyer agency agreement. Then that can actually be part of the purchase agreement. Otherwise, you have to just call the listing agent and see if they will increase the commission. But if you have an exclusive buyer agent agreement, then you can negotiate that commission in the purchase agreement.
You mean with the buyer?
With the buyer, yes. The buyer can negotiate that. The buyer is actually going to be the one negotiating it because they have an agreement with you for, let's say, 3%. And so the seller is only offering 2.5%. So therefore you can negotiate the full 3%. The buyer can't, because they generally owe you the difference between what the commission is that's actually paid and what they signed an agreement for. So that's another reason to use the exclusive buyer agency agreement, because then you can negotiate commission in the purchase agreement. Without that, you cannot negotiate commission in the purchase agreement.
But you mean when we have that signed by the buyer, we can ask for the remaining of the 3% to the seller, is what you're saying?
Yes, that can be
You
fine.
can ask, but they don't have to pay you.
They don't have
Yeah,
to pay you.
we can, like I said, we always can ask. They can say yes or no.
Yeah.
On
Well,
it.
keep in mind, it's a purchase agreement. If you put it in a purchase agreement, you know, that could be a reason to not select your purchase over somebody else.
Yeah,
So obviously, you probably wouldn't want to do it, you know, when you're fighting for a listing that's hard to get.
yeah,
On the other hand, if there's plenty of inventory and you want that higher commission rate, then yeah, you can make that part of the purchase agreement if you have an exclusive buyer's agency agreement. Um, and then there's other education opportunity there. They do have a meeting down at Mybor on January 8th that is currently full, but you can put your name on a wait list for it. I don't know why they don't offer a virtual option for that, but they don't. And then down here, NAR trial top 5 frequently asked questions about the Burnett trial, and you can click here to get answers. You know, what was the Burnett case about? What does the verdict mean? What are the next steps in the Burnett case? What is NAR doing about similar allegations it is now facing in a number of other states? What happens if NAR loses a Burnett appeal in these additional lawsuits? It gives you answers for those things. We've already talked about those things, so I'm not gonna go into that. But just to say that the media is certainly active in terms of letting people know about this. So you know your clients are going to know, and so you need to be prepared to talk to them and to answer their questions, maybe even preemptively as part of your buyer or listing presentation. Also, I wanted to give you some news, updated news on Realty World. You should be getting these updates via email. This one came in this morning from Realty World Corporate. And it has a meeting to register for with Lisa Gerdes. I think that this may be, I don't know if this is brokers only or if this is everybody, but you can register for that if it's on your copy of the update. It may have your copy of the update may have a agent meeting. Also, there's a meeting coming up. Again, these are all Zoom on January 4th with this fellow here. Some free tools used by top real estate agents to skyrocket their business. So again, free is good. There may be also some paid things. This guy is the founder of a company called LinkMe Cards, and there is a fee for LinkMe Cards. But again, it's something that you can check out as an alternative to business cards. And then Gabrielle Jeans has a couple of webinars. One is creating marketing strategy for listings. And you can register just by clicking the button. And Realty World University, working with buyers, you can register for that. I usually try to attend these webinars just because there's great information on there. Gabrielle is a source of a lot of information, a lot of great information. And then there's the Realty World Conference coming up in April in Anaheim, California. Everyone is invited to that. So all agents are invited if you'd like to go to that. They're going to have a speaker, John D. Rays, and he'll be talking about maintaining market relevance with video and artificial intelligence. So there should be some good information at the conference. You can get discounted room rates at the Sheridan Park Hotel in Anaheim. While you're out there, you could even plan a visit to Disneyland as part of your trip, Disneyland being right there in Anaheim. And then, of course, you can watch classes about KV Core to learn more about how to use KV Core as a useful product. So let's see, I want to make sure I've got everything. Oh, as far as Realty World Indy, we always, every year we have a holiday luncheon where I thank you for being part of Realty World Indy. And so I'd like to do that next Thursday on the 11th. Hopefully that will work for all of you. If it doesn't, let me know and we could try an alternate day. But the 11th should be early enough in the month that you don't have any closings, and hopefully everybody could make that. We'll meet at Wolfie's at Geist at 11:30. Wolfie's at Geist 11:30, and we'll have a holiday lunch, and I'll provide the lunch to you. So that's Realty World Indy News. And then the additional thing that I'd like to talk about is I've been looking at the services that I'm providing you, and I'm charging you a monthly fee for the services that I'm providing. And it occurs to me that some of you may not be using the services, some of you may not. You'd rather use other services than the ones that we provide. So I'm thinking about not providing as many services and instead utilizing lowering your monthly fee, but not providing you all the services. So for instance, right now, I'm providing you with a subscription to Back At You, and I'm providing a subscription to DocuSign, and I'm providing a subscription to Reality Tech Pack, which is KV Core. So those are the three products that I'm providing you. The cost is $59 for them, actually $60. I'm charging you $59 for those. So obviously, I'm spending a lot of money. You're paying for some of that, but it doesn't give me a lot left over to pay E&O insurance and things of that sort back now. So, and the other thing is, I don't want to be providing and paying money for products that you don't use, that you don't want to use. And so what my thought is to either reduce or eliminate the monthly fee, and then you would buy your own services based on what you want instead
at that price.
At this price, right? So Back At You's available for $10, DocuSign's available for $10. The KV Core is available for $39.99. The Homestack app, the Realty World app's available for $15. The Branding Center and Core Fact are free. And I thought at one point that they had I thought I saw the other day that you could get well, I don't see it now, so maybe they've taken it off. But at one point you could get the what was it? Reach 150 was listed on here, but I don't see it today. So I don't know if that's...
I saw insurance. Does anybody use that insurance?
Yeah, it was on here. I don't know what happened to it. I'll have to ask them about that. But they had Reach 150 on here for like $10 or $15, something like that. It was relatively inexpensive. And also, you've got access to Vistaprint and Core Fact, there's no charge for either of those services. Corfac being a mailing service for farming or for sending out communication to your sphere, cards and things of that sort. And then of course you got Vistaprint and Vistaprint has business cards and wearables, things that Realty World logo wear stuff. So at any rate, I'm just thinking of that. I would appreciate feedback from you outside of the Zoom meeting here. So just give me your feedback one-on-one via email after the meeting and let me know what you think about that, whether you'd be for a reduced monthly fee, but I'm not going to provide all the services that I'm currently providing. So you'd have to get those yourself if you want them. The one service that I probably would continue to provide is DocuSign, because I want everyone on the same platform for transaction management. But other than that, you'd be able to pick and choose what you want. So at any rate, just let me know outside the meeting about that. That's just something that I'm thinking about doing this coming year, which should benefit you as well as benefit me. There's no reason for me to pay for services that you don't use, and there's no reason for you to pay me for services that you don't use. Instead, you could use that money to pay for services that you do use. So that's my thoughts on that. Okay, so are there any questions in general that you have before I go on to Greg Luther and start talking about Greg Luther?
I have a quick question. I saw you were showing I saw like insurance. Do you have any knowledge about that insurance?
What were you saying?
Health insurance. I saw you went somewhere here looking for more information, and I saw health insurance.
I don't know anything about health insurance.
Okay.
So I can't help you there. All I can say is that NAR does have some health insurance vendors that supposedly give you a better rate as a realtor. So you might check the NAR website for health insurance. But outside of that, I don't know of anything.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. I attended a call yesterday, New Year's Day, with Greg Luther. I don't know if you know who Greg Luther is. He's a real estate agent and, well, former real estate agent. I don't know that he actively sells real estate anymore, but he did. And he's over in Columbus, Ohio. So, he's a Midwesterner. So, I think that the things that he does play well in the Midwest, which is where we are. He has a YouTube channel that you can visit that has information on it, and I think that that's one of the things that you can do if you're interested in Greg. In fact, I'll show you here. You should be looking at it. This is he has different little snippets of training that he puts out. I subscribe to his newsletter because I like a lot of the techniques that he uses, and I've used some of those things myself, and it has produced good results for me. So I just wanted to give you a rundown on what some of his thoughts were yesterday on the call. That there were probably 5,000 realtors on that call. Zoom caps you at 5,000 users, and he was capped out, but and that's from people all over the country. So this wasn't 5,000 realtors here in Indy, but these are 5,000 realtors from all over the country. But he has a coaching program, and just beware that when you look at any of his things, he does give you some things free, which is good. But he's also in the business of selling his coaching. And so he has coaching to sell. So just understand that he's always going to have a sales pitch in there. And yesterday's New Year's meeting was no exception to that. But there were still good information that I picked up. So here's some of Greg Luther's thoughts that I jotted down, and that I somewhat agree with him on most of these things. So for instance, one of the things he said, he made the statement that easy money is gone, and that low interest rates are gone. And they're probably not going to be back in the level that we've seen in the past, where it's 2 or 3% financing, and that's a good thing, because that should help a little bit with inventory, and there's ways to deal with that. So he thinks that low interest is gone. I do too. I think you'll probably also see a little bit more selectivity by mortgage companies in terms of getting loans in the first place. One of the things he said that I agree with is that media has gone nuts about this lawsuit. And this is something that you're going to have to address both with buyers and sellers, because if you don't, they're hearing about it through the media and their friends are telling them about it. So you list a house and you tell them you're going to charge 6%. You don't explain how commission works. The house goes on the market. Their neighbor calls them up and says, hey, you don't have to pay buyer commission. There was just a lawsuit that NAR lost that says that you don't have to pay a buyer's commission. Your realtor is taking advantage of you, and you need to get out of that deal. And so you don't want them hearing about this from their friend or their neighbor or their coworker at work. You want to tell them so that they understand how it works, that commissions aren't set, that it isn't an antitrust violation, which is what the lawsuit was all about, was that NAR states, NAR and realty companies set the commission rate. We don't. It's negotiated with every transaction. So just be prepared for that. And you want to make plain, both with sellers and buyers, how that commission is paid. And so that's why you want to use a exclusive buyer agency agreement with your buyers, and with your sellers. You want to explain to them that, hey, my fee to sell your property is this, but we also want to offer a commission to the cooperating broker. And one of the things, if they say, well, I thought this lawsuit said you don't have to pay a commission to the buyer's broker. And the answer to that is that's absolutely true. You do not have to pay a commission to a buyer's broker. Okay. So there are brokers out there with buyers. And so you have to think, do you not want to pay a commission to those people? Because if you don't, that's fine, but don't count on them to bring buyers for your home then, because they're not going to work for free. You know, what do you think would happen if I were listing your house? I'm here to list your house. What would you think would happen if you told me, hey, I'm not going to pay you to list my house? What do you think would happen? Well, I would get up and walk out, because I'm not going to work for free. It's the same thing with buyer's agents. They're not going to work for free. So you can offer nothing, zero, and put that money in your pocket. However, don't count on buyer's agents to bring you a buyer for your home. And so you want to make that plain to them why they're paying a commission to the cooperating broker, why they're doing that. And then you can use that menu of services. Remember the menu of services that I showed? I think I showed it on the last call. And I know I sent the menu of services out to some of you. But at any rate, if you have a menu of services, it shows exactly what you're going to do for the money that you're charging them. And they can pick. So when they say, how much do you charge to sell my house? Then your answer is, well, that's up to you. Here's my menu of services. I have a silver, I have a gold package, and I have a platinum package. And you can pay whichever one of these that you want. Let me explain to you what's included in each package. And so you go through, and then they pick which package they want. And as part of that package, I also explain to them about the cooperating broker commission that we're going to pay. And so I can go through that and show that to them. So that again helps answer those questions of what are you getting for the money that you're paying me. And it helps diffuse then some of the things that people are hearing about the lawsuit that just is misinformation. If you listen to the media portrays every realtor and all the MLSs as money grubbing people that are out to pick your pocket clean. And that's not the case. We know that. We work very hard for the money that we make. It's not easy, and you don't get rich selling real estate. You might get rich investing in real estate, which is another thing altogether, which you all should be doing. If you're young enough, you should be investing in real estate. Sellers are pulling listings. Actually, they're pulling listings after they talk to friends and coworkers and neighbors and find out they don't have to pay a commission if they didn't hear that from their agent. So you want to make sure they hear it from you. Okay. One of the things that he talked about is that he uses with buyers, and I think this is a good strategy, and you may even want to include it in your buyer consultation. And that is, he asks buyers, do you want access to pre-market and pre-foreclosure properties? And he does this because it's an offer that they can't get anywhere else, or at least not everywhere else. Not every realtor is offering that kind of service. And so what he does to provide that is that, first of all, he reaches out to people that or to neighborhoods. And I think essentially what this is, and I'm still learning a little bit more about this, but I wanted to just put the bug in your ear. What he does is he makes a video with his buyer clients. And I think what happens is he gets the buyer clients on a video just using his phone, and they tell a potential seller what they're looking for in a new home and the neighborhoods that they're looking for, and et cetera. So you have that little video, and then you put that video online. So you could put it on YouTube, on your YouTube channel or whatever, but you put that little video online, and then you write a letter to that neighborhood, to all the residents in that neighborhood, and the letter basically says, hey, I have a buyer. I know this sounds like a sales pitch and all that stuff, but I do have a buyer. I actually shot a quick video for you to tell you about it. They wanted me to send this letter out to you, so that's what I've done. It's pretty rare to find a home buyer this motivated, so I thought it would be good for you as well. Just hold your phone camera over the QR code below, and you'll be able to see what they're looking to purchase for their family to live in. Obviously, you should at least check into it. You can reach me at my contact info below. Of course, it would just be an exploratory conversation with absolutely no cost, no obligation at all. scan the QR code and watch the brief video I just made for you here. And then there's a QR code on there. Well, we have the ability to produce QR codes through KV Core, I think. They have a code generator, and you can then direct that code to your video, and that way they can look at that video. So not only can they look at the video, but that captures their number, their phone number, when they do that. And so that helps you with trying to find off-market properties. And if somebody responds to that, the beautiful part of that is if somebody responds to that, it's an off-market property. Now you can show your buyer that property, and you're not competing with every agent in the market for that business, and you might end up with both sides of the transaction. Where you list it and sell it, obviously you could do that at a reduced rate because you're not showing a bunch of houses to your buyer and you're not doing a lot of advertising for your seller. So you could do that at a reduced rate, but it could actually enhance your commission by finding an off-market property that way. And so if you're gonna offer, pre-market properties, which is what that would be, then you have to do that extra step, and that means you're going to have to buy some stamps, print some letters off on your printer, and print some labels or envelopes on your printer to be able to send those out to a specific neighborhood. Now, the mailing list for that neighborhood can come from a variety of places, such as RPR or the tax records. So there's lots of places to get those names and addresses. And there are techniques that you can use to get mail opened, by the way. When you send a piece of mail, just use your name, not Realty World. Just use your name. And if you're going to use the office address, just use the street address, not the suite number. Or you could use your home address as the return address. Put a stamp on it so that it doesn't look like direct mail. And if you can do a mail merge and print the envelopes instead of labels, it works a lot better, a printed envelope, than it does with a label on it. Because again, a lot of people look at a label as, well, this is some kind of direct mail. You could also just hand address all of them, but that's a lot of writing.
I did wrote all the envelope for Christmas. I
Yeah.
was tired. I couldn't send one card to my friends.
Yeah.
My daughter had to help me.
Now that's something you might want to pay one of your kids or a grandkid or a friend and say, look, I'll pay you $50 if you address all these for me, handwritten.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
It is tiring, but those will get open. Handwritten things get open. Everybody's promising to send them listings by email. Every single agent is going to say, hey, I'll send you listings every day by email. So if that's the only thing that you're offering to buyers, well, that's the same thing every agent is offering to buyers. In fact, Zillow and Realtor.com offer to do that. We'll send you an email every day, just sign up. And of course, you get sold as a lead. But if you can separate yourself from a buyer perspective, then that allows you to get more buyers, which can lead to more listings because a lot of buyers have homes to sell. It can also lead to more listings because if you have a buyer, now you can prospect neighborhoods using that buyer letter with a genuine buyer that you can plug into an appointment, and you can maybe get a listing that way. And that listing will probably also have a buyer attached to it because they're going to need to buy a home when they sell their home. So, so it's a great way to prospect for business and increase the amount of money that you're making. And what if the MLS didn't exist? How would you find homes without the MLS?
Newspaper, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, how would you find them? You'd have to poke around on websites or whatever. And that's a good thing to just bring to people that say, hey, you know, the MLS is, you don't need MLS as well. You know what? It'd be somewhat difficult to find homes without it. Ask yourself the question that I would ask you. He said, do you have a blueprint for success? Now, he's selling a coaching session called Blueprint for Success. Okay, so he's selling something here. But I think it's a good question to ask. And that is of yourself. And that is, if you were a builder, you're not going to build a home without a blueprint, right? You use a blueprint so that you know what you're building. And so for you, you need a blueprint for success. It's called a business plan. And so you owe it to yourself to have a business plan. So if you haven't written a business plan yet, I would encourage you to please write one. You know, Marco and I sat down last week and we went through the business planning session. And by the way, that's available to all of you. You just need to let me know that you're interested. But we sat down through and did a business planning session, and Marco has a business plan now. I don't know how fleshed out it is, but I know that he wrote things down while we were here in that session to put together his business plan for 2024. I have a business plan for 2024. And so you should have one too, if you don't already have it. One thing he said, and this was kind of interesting, it was this was some ads, and I may try to distribute these to you. But one of the things he said is, ask yourself the question, what 3 rooms interest women the most? And he believes that kitchen, baths, and closets are the rooms that are of most interest to women. The women on the call, is that true?
Yes. Kitchen is very important for women. I will say kitchen.
Yeah. Okay.
Secondary would be the bathroom, but
So what he would recommend is then that you put those 3 rooms in your like Facebook ad. So if you're going to do a Facebook ad, put those 3 rooms in the ad, because those are the ones that are going to be of most interest. You know, the guys are probably interested in what's the garage look like.
garage and kind of a main cave that it can.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing he talked about, which I think is a cool idea for selling new construction, is go around to the top 5 builders in this area, the area that you're in. So if you're down in Greenwood, go to the top 5 builders in Greenwood, or if you're in Westfield, go to the top 5 builders in Westfield, and grab some floor plans of their homes, and then offer to send those floor plans out. You run an ad that says that you can send the floor plans from the top 5 builders in this area, and whatever area it is in Westfield, let's say. And then you mail them the floor plans that you got from the builder with, of course, your business card attached. And now they have that floor plan, and you've captured their information, because to get those, they had to tell you what their address was. So now you know what their house is that they might have to sell. You can determine whether they own a home or they're renting or whatever, just by looking at the address in the tax record.
To do it for a website, is what you're saying?
Well, you could offer it on your website. You could offer it as an ad on Facebook. So he was talking specifically about Facebook ads.
Okay.
So at any rate, these are some ways to find your own inventory. And so these are techniques that he suggested. So I got quite a bit of information out of a call that was essentially a pitch to sell his coaching. And believe me, if I were looking for coaching, I'd probably consider him. Um, I'd have to compare, other coaches as well. There's a lot of good coaches out there, but I kind of like a lot of the down to earth stuff that he has going, and the fact that he is a Midwesterner, which the things that he talks about, I think, play well in the Midwest. So, at any rate, that's the end of our session. So I'm going to stop the recording.